Hey guys, we went on a little bit of an impromptu adventure today. Over the last few days, Lyric has been learning about the changing of seasons in both social studies as well as a little bit in science. So to further drive home the point, we got out into nature. So we've had an absolute field day. Lyric has been in just about every tree at this nature preserve, and
I go potty.
you gotta go potty?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my shoes.
You got your shoes?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, potty break. We'll be back. All right, so we have had an awesome time at the nature preserves. Checking out the changing of seasons. We're gonna hit up the skate park for a few minutes and then head home. Lyric's got cheer tonight, so busy. And we're actually gonna be heading to that air show down at the beach tomorrow, so we'll have a few clips from that. So hang tight and we'll show you the highlights.
Watch this, guys. See, it needs to almost.
Almost.
On my leg.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Their Teacher Skates, and we are chronicling the mostly lighter side of our homeschooling journey, although this week's topic might ruffle a few feathers. But before we do, I want to quickly point out that what I'm about to discuss is not a slant on public schools. I was raised in a public school setting. These are simply some of the reasons that we have chosen this route to educate our children. And it's impossible to drive home this point without mentioning a couple of the potential downsides of the public school system. So here we go. Anyone who has ever met a homeschooling family has probably asked themselves this exact question. Why does it seem like homeschool families are never actually schooling? And the answer is actually quite simple. Homeschooling is an extremely efficient way to deliver or receive an education. Think about it. Being homeschooled is like having a constant one-on-one or small group tutor. If the student receiving the instruction is picking up the concept quickly, then it can be moved through and then everybody can move on. And by the same token, if the student is struggling or seems to be showing quite a bit of extra passion for the topics being taught, then more time can be spent on it as well. But regardless, the curriculum and the day is constantly being tailored to the individual student's needs versus the needs of a classroom of 30 or more students. Okay, secondly, the homeschool schedule can be spread out over the course of about a 15-hour day. It generally isn't, but the flexibility is there. If a homeschool family wants to break for a grocery run or to hit the beach, they have that freedom. For example, last night, my 6-year-old and I spent an hour and 15 minutes on social studies at 8 o'clock at night because she was oddly engaged. We had an absolute blast with a state capitol puzzle and a couple of weather graph worksheets talking about the changing seasons, which actually drives home my next point. Learning happens best when it's organic. Homeschooling can take place when the student is most engaged and alert. Once my kiddo starts checking out, I generally get us to a stopping point and then we pull the plug or switch gears. I watch her ebbs and flows sometimes and I wonder to myself how much information is presented to a child in a classroom setting of 30 or more young students that just goes in one ear and out the other because their young bodies are saying, I've had enough, I need a break. Okay, so doesn't that make the child egocentric? And the answer is actually not. Remember once again that the primary purpose of education is to ensure that the information is being received, internalized, and then being applied. With that in mind, it actually seems really silly to me to be pushing my 6-year-old too far past her limits and creating a more stressful environment when all we're trying to do is deliver information to further education. Plus, socialization is actually where turn-taking, patience, stamina, problem-solving, etc. happens. We cannot get the two confused. Okay, one more thing on homeschooling, and if you watch other YouTube videos on homeschooling, you're going to hear it over and over and over again. But I am going to say it once more to drive home the point. Homeschooling is not traditional public school. Square peg, round hole. Once again, homeschooling is not traditional public school. If there are elements of public school that your family enjoys, as there are for us, then by all means go for it. But we're not here to recreate that setting at home. Unless you are, then by all means go for it. But homeschooling can be uniquely yours, so make it. Okay, so that's basically it on why homeschoolers never actually seem to be in school. Because A, we can fit our school day into a more efficient schedule. Because B, we can structure our learning periods around other activities. And because C, we can maximize our learning periods by breaking. So now I want you to think about how much time in a traditional public school classroom is wasted each day with those three things in mind. And now I'm sure that the argument is coming up that, well, socialization is happening during those gray matter periods, which is a vital component of child development. And although I agree that it is a vital component of child development, that's actually not the primary purpose of sending our children to school. The primary purpose is to receive an education. And that's where it gets twisted in public Western schools. We don't go to school to socialize. We go to school to receive an education. Socialization is a byproduct, but not the means to the end. We send our children to school to be educated. They often go to school to be social. There are times where we have different end goals, and then we wonder why the average American reads at a 7th to 8th grade reading level. I educate my child at home to ensure that she is properly educated. It's extremely efficient, and then we find that we have lots of extra time in our day to be intentional about how and where we socialize. So when you see us at the beach or the nature preserve or the air show or the grocery store at 10:30 a.m. on a Wednesday, now you know why it seems like we're never actually in school. And one last thing on that, when you homeschool, the world becomes your classroom. At the beach yesterday, Lyric found a marble-sized seed in the sand. In science, we had been talking about how different seeds travel to germinate, and Lyric hypothesized that this particular seed had floated. So she took it upon herself to test her theory. She then got a container, filled it with water, and watched her seed float, just like a coconut seed, she concluded. And that's a much better science lesson than I could have ever created in a sterile environment. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Thank you so much for sticking it out to the end. This is Their Teacher Skates, and we chronicle the lighter side most of the time of our homeschooling journey. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next video.